welcome back. I'm Pauline Grossman. I'm the Southern Duchess, and welcome to my home. Welcome to my kitchen. We're going to continue cooking along. Today I'm actually going to be doing my latkes. I had quite a few people who actually reached out right after Thanksgiving asking me for them. Or asking me for it, and I should say them because I have a few, and I'll do it different ways depending on my mood. So go ahead and get your ingredients together, and I think this will be fun because I kind of put a southern flair, a little southern spin on it. I grew up making southern potato pancakes, which are not too dissimilar. They're actually pretty similar. It's just in the difference in the South, we actually will use mashed potatoes. But I've incorporated some of the ingredients that we use in our southern potato pancakes, and I include them in my potato latkes. So anyways, go ahead and get everything ready and we'll get started. Okay, so I have my onion station set up. I have one onion already diced, and I'm working on my second onion. I like to use Vidalia onions for this recipe. I know the last couple recipes we've talked about the difference between the two, and I just feel like this really complements well. But if all you have is a yellow onion, by all means use it. And really, if all you have is a white onion, then it should be fine, honestly. Use what you got. All right, use what you have. So that is the second onion, the first bit. Again, I like to use that wet paper towel. It keeps the, it's like this little liquid that releases from the onion that causes your eyes to tear up, and it's just a great trick to use to keep your eyes from getting all red. So I just pulled that top layer of skin off, and I just want to show you what I'm doing. I actually want a very small dice on this onion, and can you see how my fingers are up? My knives are really sharp. Your knives should be really sharp. The biggest injury in a kitchen is cutting yourself. And so there are a lot of great videos that you can watch to develop your knife skills so you're not cutting yourself. I have cut my fingers so many times, and finally I just felt out of necessity to save myself. I had to learn. So I just started watching. Plus my sister Agnes, who's a brilliant chef in her own right, she's an actual chef, has worked with me, and I really appreciate that because it's made a big difference. I have not cut myself since I've done that work. So anyways, I made quick work of that. See? Such a great little trick. So slice it in, don't go all the way to the end, and then slit it, and then just creates these perfect little diced onions. Great. Okay, so I'm moving on. I'm going to do one with the zucchini. I know this is really common, but why not? I had it in my fridge and I need to use it up. Usually you should use 2 zucchinis, but I only have 1. And I'm going to grate this. And you could also, if you're doing more of these, I would actually just use, if you have a food processor, use the grating function on your food processor. I do that. Actually, I already grated my potatoes that way. And this is the same process that you would use for your potatoes. So if you're making potato latkes, you're going to grate them up just like this with a grater after they have been peeled. So don't do this if you haven't peeled them, because it'll make them look dirty and brown. Okay? All right, so that's my zucchini. Okay, and look how much that makes. That's a huge amount. So for my husband and I, so my kids eat, oh, there goes Ozzy and Pop-Tart. For my husband and I, we eat the zucchini. The kids will eat them, but we also want to mix. We like them all different kinds of ways. So that's quite a bit. That's 1 medium-sized zucchini. So I'm going to get that in a bowl. And then I'll get my potatoes. Hey, I just wanted to do a close-up video really quickly so you can see literally how much water is coming out of these. So I have my paper towel set up. Hold on, I'm going to put my
potatoes in. This is actually a fresh paper towel, so it might absorb some of the liquid, but we'll do it a couple times. So watch. Oh, it broke. Yeah, see that? You have to get all, that's so much water. You have to get all that water out. That's just like not, it's gonna make soggy latkes. Here, I'm just gonna fold this in half. I'll do it one more time, look at this. Yeah, it's worth it. Got enough, oh man. And if you just try to wring it out with your hands, it doesn't work as well. Trust me, I've tried to skip that step and it's just a mess. So you might as well just do it the right way the first time. That's one of my favorite sayings that I came up with. Just do it the right way the first time. And then it saves time. See, look at all that water. Right. And all vegetables have water in them. So it's just a matter of getting it all out. Last batch. Waste not, want not. Get it all out, or as much as you can. That's good. Last. Oh my gosh. And that's after we spun it. That's wild to me. I'm always amazed. All right, that's done. I'm gonna clean up my space. I'm gonna clean up my space and then we'll come right back.
All right, moving into the next stage. So we're gonna talk about the binder. Use eggs, and then most people use flour, or they might use matzo meal, which can also be traditional. I don't love the raw flour in my latkes. I understand the need for it. I will sometimes use cornmeal if I don't have time for this next step or have all the ingredients, because I prefer the nuttiness of a cornmeal. At least it's adding something to the dish. But this is a little trick that I love. Either I'm going to ask you to use, for this recipe, either use breadcrumbs. You can do pre-made breadcrumbs, whether they're seasoned or not. That's completely up to you. If you want to control the seasoning, then I would just use plain. Or you could use panko. Or what I like to do, and I actually have some already made, it's left over from Thanksgiving and it was frozen in my freezer. I have Italian bread. I use Italian bread and cornbread for my stuffing, and I cube it and crumble it up and I toast it in the oven. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the cornbread, because that's what I want to use. I'm going to make my own crumbs. All right, so all you're going to do, and if you like this flavor, it's such an easy step to do. And these store really well in these freezer-safe Ziplocs and in your freezer, so you always have them. So I'm going to take my cornbread that has been baked and then crumbled and toasted to add flavor, and I'm gonna crumble it up to make breadcrumbs. Now you can also do this in your food processor. I just happen to have my Vitamix on my counter, and that is done. That's how fast it takes. So just to look and see, here is the texture now, and it has all this flavor to it. So we're going to use that as our binder. I'm just going to sit it right over here. Okay, so the last thing is, and I'm not going to take you through the process because I guarantee most of you are probably going to buy rice cauliflower, but this is rice cauliflower. I just send this through my food processor, has a grating attachment, and I just cube it up and send it through that grating attachment. Trying to grate and chop cauliflower just becomes a total mess. I do not recommend it. That is the easiest way to do it. So what I have is cauliflower, grated potatoes, and because I had it extra, grated zucchini, okay? So I'm going to do latkes 3 different ways. The process is very similar with all 3. So let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to do is saute our onions. You can use a little bit of butter if you want. I'm going to just use a smidge of olive oil. Okay? So I have my diced onions. I'm going to go ahead and put those in. Get them going. And I'm going to cook them. That's quite a bit. Those are two onions again. And I'm going to run the temperature up kind of high. All right, here we go. It's starting to sizzle. So we're just getting that going. See how that's just like, there's enough room in the pan. That's something we talk about a lot in our videos because people overcrowd their pans. It's really important that you have pans that are not completely full. There needs to be some movement, okay? Yeah, and then just give it a little shake to spread it out. And this is really just the waiting game. So we're looking for these onions to be translucent. We're not looking to get any color on them. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep it moving a little. Yeah. Over and over again, just paying attention to them. So we're stirring and stirring. And there's still, I have not adjusted the heat at all. It's on medium high. Right? That sizzle sound is what we're looking for. Let's take a look. How we doing? Onions? See? You're looking beautiful. You look so beautiful. Yeah. Good. Now I'm going to give a little salt love. Salt as we go. In there. That's kosher salt, by the way, to taste. Probably about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Maybe half a teaspoon. And those are done. All right, let's take these off the heat immediately, otherwise they're going to keep cooking. That's a mistake. People just kind of let their vegetables sit in the pan. Remember, that pan's still hot. So same thing with cookie sheets. Like when you're baking cookies or roasting vegetables, remember that the pan's still hot, okay? Okay, so we're gonna actually do a very similar process with the cauliflower. My pan is actually still hot. I didn't even wash it out because I'm gonna add the onion to my cauliflower. So I wanna get these a little toasty as well. I think cauliflower is so good when it's been toasted just a little bit in the pan. I don't like to say sautéed it is, but I just love how it gets a little nutty when you cook it just a little bit. And it also helps cook some of that water out of there, which is really important. Okay, same amount of salt. And the reason, did you hear how the sizzle quit? It's because it's the water and the veg, okay? So that's why I'm gonna actually turn my heat up to high and I'm just gonna let it cook down. And then we'll come back with a close-up video so you can see what it looks like in the pan, and then we'll mix it all together and get it going. See how that sound has changed? Yes, 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 that's beautiful. These are perfect. And you can start to smell them. The caramelization that happens when you do this process is really worth it. I mean, you can do them, you could totally do them just from raw, but this just adds another level of depth to the flavor. So here it is. You see a little bit of color on them. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. It's not going to hurt it for sure. And obviously, if you're going to fry these, then it helps that process as well. Helps hold it all together. So that's our cauliflower. Okay, so same thing with the cauliflower. You want to get it out of the pan carefully. See how I'm holding it? I've always found that this hand position with the handle makes it easier, especially for really heavy pans. so that's out and in our bowl. Great. I'll come back and wash this in a minute. Okay. All right, so go ahead and get your station set up so we can move on and put all our ingredients together. So as I'm mixing this, I just wanted you to see the consistency. In all transparency, I added another egg to the potato. Here is, see how they're all the same? I just want you to see that texture. That's really important. Okay, so there's the texture of the egg. So it's not like, there's not a lot of liquid, there's no liquid in the bottom, right? I used to make that mistake, and that's why we do all that draining, right? It's really dry. So these are gonna crisp up nicely, okay? Look at those beauties. Moving on, gotta take off the jewelry because I'm gonna get my hands dirty. Put them up here. My mother-in-law is probably going, but she's happy. I don't always take my jewelry off, so that will make her very happy. All right, so we're gonna start with, let's start with 3 tablespoons and see how we feel, okay? I think for the potatoes, I'm gonna need more. So I'm putting in 3, look at that, tablespoons. 3 tablespoons here. I'm gonna do 3 here because I know I'm gonna end up with more than 3 for those potatoes because it's all about the feel. And I'm gonna put 2 in the zucchini just because I don't have as much. All right, so, well, it's fine. My sister too, Agnes, gave me a hard time. She's like, you're wearing such nice clothes. I'm like, these are my clothes. My mom, though, had the most beautiful aprons made up for me for my birthday. So I look forward to showing you all those next video. So let's see here. How we doing? Okay, that definitely needs more. They all need more. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna put 3 more here. And I promise I'll do a close-up so you know what that consistency is supposed to be. I'm gonna do 3 more here. And I'm gonna do 2 more here. Remember, the amazing thing about these toasted breadcrumbs, panko, whatever it is that you're using, it just adds more flavor. Even though it allows the veg that's here to be the star. And I love that. I love that. Because it's not, you know, the onions are here to enhance. The breadcrumbs are here to enhance. The spices are here to enhance. But we really want to allow the potato to be the star of the meal. We want to allow the zucchini or the cauliflower to be the star of the meal. All right, just a little bit more. So now we're on, I'm going to put 2 more. Actually, I'm going to do 3 more for that one. 1 more. Okay. And this will, all the correct amounts will be in the recipe. But I just want to show you quickly. I'm going to wash my hands and come back with my other camera so you can see the consistency that we're looking for. Because if it's raining outside, then it's going to add humidity into the air, and it's going to make it wet. So you have to add more ingredients. And certain veg have more water in them, just naturally. So sometimes you have to, if you're changing the veg, depending on the recipe, you have to kind of change the amount of binder that's there. So we're going to learn to cook smart. That's what we're doing. We're learning to cook smart. Okay, I'm going to wash my hands and then I'm coming back. Okay, so we're back. Let's take a look at these really quickly. I just want you to see the consistency, right? See how that holds its form, almost like a crab cake? Yeah, so here we go, same thing, right? So if I squeeze it, see how it holds its form? That's what we're looking for. Okay, let's check this one. Same thing. See how when I squeeze it, it doesn't just fall apart? Exactly. So that's what we're looking for with our consistency. So you just keep gently, evenly adding a little binder in there until it ends up being the consistency that you want it to be. Okay, to make this easy on myself, I'm using my ice cream scoop. You can certainly just use your hand if you want to just roll them into balls, just very carefully, because they're not like meatballs. They're not going to stick together unless you use too much binder or a lot of binder, and they will. So I'm just using this to form my mounds, and there's not a lot left in here, but that one needs a little bit more. Okay, so that one head made about, let's see, 6, 7, 8. So now I'm going to push them down just a little, just like that. I like for them to be a little bit thick. Now we have two options. We could either bake them. So either we spray non-stick on a pan or use a silicone sheet, and we can bake them on 375 for about 20 minutes, probably 20 or 30 minutes, or we can pan fry them. They do not need to be submerged. Just a little bit of oil in the bottom of the pan will do, and we'll talk about that in a second. So that's my cauliflower. With the potatoes, it's gonna hold a little bit better, right? So if I'm gonna form them in my hand, I'm gonna go this way. I'm just gonna make a little bit and just push them down. Now some people like really thin latkes too. So this is a great way to get those. And see that shape? And very delicately putting them down. So about a palm, about the amount of a palm. And I'm just gonna press them together. So that's a little more of a rustic look if that's what you're going for. I love that when I squeeze these though, that no water is coming out. And that's really big. And then when I pick them up, you're gonna see in a second, and put them in the skillet with the oil, I am gonna be very careful because they will break apart. So they are delicate. They are delicate to some degree, but once they're made, that binder does its job, and they're beautiful. They don't come apart. And like I said, they freeze beautifully. So you're just gonna put them back on a cookie sheet and then freeze the zucchini. I'm gonna do the same thing I did with the cauliflower. I'm just gonna, yep, there we go. Little mound press, okay. You can put them right on there, or you can just do them in your hand, but see how they're just very delicate. So wanting to be gentle with them. But see, using the scoop or the same size spoon allows them to all be the same shape, which obviously makes it look a lot nicer on the platter, but it also makes it easier for you for cook time. So when you're cooking everything in the skillet, or if you're gonna bake them, everything on the baking sheet cooks at the same rate, which is important. I'm gonna let these rest for 10 minutes. Now that is a trick that I learned when learning how to make fried chicken the correct way. So anytime that you're gonna fry something, you wanna let it rest, especially if it has flour in it. You wanna let it rest for 10 minutes before you start to handle it again. So I'm gonna let these sit. I'm gonna clean up my mess, and we'll meet back here and cook these up. Okay, so the cauliflower and zucchini latkes are in the oven at 375, and I'm about to start my potato latkes. I have my oil heating up in my cast iron skillet. If you have a Dutch oven, that's a great option. If you have a nonstick, it's okay. They're not supposed to get super hot, so you just need to check the directions on your pan. Obviously a saute pan would be fine. Whatever you got, it's fine. Sometimes I use my soup pot. It just depends. So quickly, I'd like to show you, here are our latkes. They've been resting, okay? And you see that to the touch? It's firm, right? Yeah. Oh, and I just heard the crackle on the stove. So let's go ahead and put our first batch in. I'm using a wide metal spatula, okay? These are really easy to use. I love them. And I'm just gonna gently put these in, and there's probably about not quite half an inch of oil in here. I don't want too much, but I want enough to get to the middle of the latke. And then this is the same deal as before when we're cooking. we don't want to overcrowd the pan. So I'm just going to start with 4. Okay. I'm going to let them cook. It doesn't take very long. So as these are cooking, frying rather, I am going to, I have a drying, like a little like cooling rack. I'm going to use it to allow mine to drip. You can also, this is another trick, if you have brown paper bags from the grocery store, just rip them open. And actually, brown paper bags are one of the best things to soak up oil. So I do that all the time. I use the inside, make sure they're clean. If you're worried about them being clean, just lay a little paper towel over the top, and that's fine. Obviously, you can use regular paper towels as well if you want. So you want your oil to be really hot before you put your latkes in. If you are frying anything, if you put it in before it's ready to sizzle, then it gets greasy, and that's not what we want at all. It's actually kind of gross. So you want that oil nice and hot. We're not going to overcrowd the pan. We're going to let it sit and rest, right, in the pan, not touching it, letting it do it, letting it do its thing, okay? And you can tell when those edges start to get crispy that it's time. See how that one moved beautifully on its own? It's not quite done though. Yeah, these need just another minute, I can tell. Just checking to make sure that they're not, yeah, those are good. Okay, let them sit just another minute more. Nice little close-up video. See, they're sizzling in that skillet. A lot of space, right? I might have been able to fit one more in there, but for flipping purposes, it just makes it easier not to overcrowd the pan. All right, look at those. That's the second batch. Grabbing my spatula. Let's try to flip these over. Oh, look at how brown that is. I don't want to get too close because I don't want to be splattered. It's one reason why I love this spatula too, this metal spatula. It really, it's nice and long. Also think about the order that you're putting these in. Usually I go clockwise, but I didn't do that this time. All right, there we go. Oh, those are perfect. I cannot wait to eat those. Okay, y'all, I'm putting in my last 3, my last batch. It goes by, really quickly. It's taken me about 10 minutes to fry up this whole both of these trays, this whole batch. I have 3 left. And super easy. So you have some options, okay? Your options are you can either eat them right away. And one thing that I would love to, a tip that I'd love to give you is with this finishing salt, while they're still hot right off the stove, that's when you want to salt them. And I love the finishing salt. It has such a nice flavor to it. Okay, it's different from kosher. So you can either eat them right away with sour cream or applesauce. And I'm actually going to do a homemade applesauce video, which you can do. Applesauce is so simple. It's like 4 ingredients or something. Very simple process. So either you want to eat these right away, or you can pop them in your freezer and freeze them, and then reheat them in your oven. They get really crispy. Nice warm center, and then really crispy around the outside. I love them that way. Or honestly, you can just pop them in the microwave if you just want to throw them in your refrigerator. It depends on how many you're going to eat. But anyways, just enjoy them. We'll be back here to finish up the video. I'm just going to wait for these to cook, and we'll be back in a minute. All right, let's pull these out. They are ready. Ready. Oh my, look at that steam. I didn't blend that very well, did I? Okay. Oh my gosh, look at that. Hold on. That is just beautiful. We got to take a picture of that. You get to be a part of that picture taking process. Wow. That's stunning. And the light doesn't hurt. The lighting doesn't hurt. Okay. I'm going to try to do this without burning myself. Right here. Look. Oh. See that firm, a little firm? Beautiful. So we're going to let those cool all the way. I'm going to put them on a cooling rack, and then we're eating them. Can't wait. So these are our latkes. Let's take a look. See how beautiful they are?
crispy around the outside. And yeah, see how they're firm? Crispy around the outside, then a nice warm center. And I sprinkled a little finishing salt over the top. And I can't wait to put I like mine both ways, with applesauce and with a little bit of sour cream. We're gonna have salmon and lox rather with ours tonight. I can't wait to serve these up for my family. Hi, so we're back at it. As you can tell, it's nighttime. Set change, right? Nighttime, time period change. I'm working on my applesauce now. I'm also just sauteing some jalapenos here. But as you can see in here, I'm going to get a spoon in there. I have 6 apples, 2 different types of apples. You can choose what you prefer. I have 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, 1 to 2 tablespoons of sugar, depending on how tart your apples are, some cinnamon, and nutmeg. So a teaspoon of cinnamon and then a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. You can also use cinnamon sticks, but I'm out, so I'm riffing. I'm using this, and I put in just a little bit of water in the bottom of the pan to help the apples along in releasing their juices. So I'm going to let this cook down until it's mushy and soft, and then I'm going to throw it into my blender. You can always use a food processor as well, and you could do that. Sorry, my jalapenos were hot and they're done. So you can throw it into the food processor and then blend it up, and that's as simple as applesauce. I mean, that's really all that there is to it. So we'll see the finished product, but that's the really simple recipe. My heat's on medium. You don't want to run it too hot because there are a lot of sugars that are releasing. You don't want it to burn. And I'm keeping my lid on it, except when every 5 minutes or so, I'm taking the lid off and stirring and checking it. Okay, meet back here in a minute. Shadow on them. Okay, they're done. And I left the skin on. You can take the peel off if you want to. I'm not picky, so I actually like the peel. But if you don't like that kind of bite, then just peel them off. It's not a big deal. No seeds. Took all the seeds out. All the goodness is going in the food processor. Like any mom, I am cleaning as I'm cooking. So I have inconsistencies in my videos, and I am fine with that. Not worried about it being perfect. Okay, so I have my Vitamix. And I'm actually gonna pop the top off like this because it's hot. And if I don't, then because of the pressure when you blend, it can explode. So it's really important that you don't have the lid on. And actually, a better trick is just to take a towel and just hold it over the top like that. It's just safer, okay? All right, I'm gonna turn this down. I'm gonna turn it on for a second. And done. Okay, so that is gorgeous. I want to pour this into a clear bowl so you can see it really quickly. My stove is a mess because we fried a bunch of stuff on it and made applesauce, and I'll clean it up in a bit. Just do that for now. Okay, so I want you to see this. It's gorgeous. Here's my clear bowl. Okay, and here is my applesauce. Look at that. Basically, it's like applesauce is just an apple puree, but that is fresh applesauce. Yeah. Let's give it a taste. Let's see. How did we do? How did we do? Oh, it's hot. Hold on. Shut up. That is so good. That is delicious. There is no need to buy store-bought applesauce when you can make it and it's better and it's that easy. 6 apples, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, 1 tablespoon of sugar, a teaspoon of cinnamon, a
1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. Let it simmer in a pot on medium with just a little bit, tiny bit of water on the bottom until it's all soft. Throw it into your food processor, your mixer, and done. It's that simple. I can't wait to serve this tonight with our latkes. So I'll be back here and I'll assemble everything in a second. So I'm gonna put these, plate these up, and then we're gonna try some. But I just thought that maybe Ian could tell you a little bit about Hanukkah. Go ahead.
8 crazy nights, as it's known. But the real piece that connects to the latke, for those of you who don't know, is that the Hanukkah story is based in large part around the miracle of the oil, that when the Maccabees were in battle and they only had enough oil to last one night, to light, to keep candles lit, so that they can see the enemy, and they can do battle. And the miracle was that what was supposed to be one night of oil lasted for 8 nights, and thus 8 nights of Hanukkah. And so part of the tradition of Hanukkah is to cook in oil, fry things in oil. Most famously latkes, but also donuts are very popular during Hanukkah for that reason as well.
Awesome.
And I suppose Southern fried chicken.
Yes, it is. So we have our 3 different kinds of latkes. We have cauliflower, traditional potato, and then this is the zucchini one. And then these are the different toppings. Usually it's either sour cream or the applesauce, but also we like, who doesn't like lox? So, and we're actually having steak tonight with dinner, so it'll be the perfect thing to come
Like surf and turf.
Like surf and turf, yeah. So which one do you want to try? How do you take it? Yeah, you can have a bite of each, but how do you like yours?
Well, I'm generally a sour cream guy, but I'll try maybe a little bit of each topping on each.
Okay, here, I'll get a knife. We'll do this. So we
Maybe
can
you should have said which it was. It could have been a blind taste test.
Look how pretty those are. Okay. So, I think, how would you like yours? You want to try a little sour cream?
Sure.
The sour cream with the lox is going to be perfect. Let's do the traditional one first. You want a little lox on that? You're not going to say no.
You're the chef, you tell me.
You're not going to say no. Oh my gosh, you have to eat this. Ready?
Yeah.
I'm not going to feed this to you. You have to hold it.
Yeah.
Hold it.
Okay. I got
Okay.
it.
I'm gonna. Oh, we dropped some. Thank God we have a dog. We have 3 dogs. Oh, it's all over the place. This is not very attractive, is it? Okay, I'm gonna do one as well. This is the cauliflower one. Let's see.
I'm supposed to eat this whole thing, right?
Here, you want some? No? I'm gonna eat that whole thing.
Very different.
And I love the different toppings. Would you put anything else on them?
On the latke? No. I mean, in fact, sometimes a fresh latke is just good plain. Doesn't need anything on it.
It's great. Well, anyways, enjoy these at home. Thank you, honey, for having.
Sure. I have to go eat the rest.
All right. All right. Bye.